Well, you've made it to the end. This is our final segment in the overview of my book, Figure It, Face It, and Fix It. There are 13 chapters, and so we've kind of done an overview of each chapter, gone through all the phrases that comprise the program. We've talked about how cognitive behavior therapy works. We talked about the importance of looking at your underlying causes. We talked about exposure therapy and the need for a re-entry plan into the world where a lot of people are still partying and we need not live in fear. And so this last phrase really just talks about the journey now of recovery. I use analogy in this particular chapter of hiking in Hawaii. I've lived here in Hawaii since 1978. This is my home. I love it here. And one of the things I love to do is hiking up in the woods of Hawaii. We have a very unique kind of a rainforest and tropical environment up in the woods that are here surrounding Oahu, where I live. And hiking is kind of a different experience than what I've done perhaps in different places of the mainland, the continental United States. We hike oftentimes on ridges. So there are peaks that were created by the volcanoes, and they're very sharp, and so you walk along the ridge, and sometimes there's a 500-foot drop on both sides, and you need to stay on the trail. And so I use this as an analogy in the last chapter of my book, that I want you to stay on the pathway of freedom. I don't want you to fall into either of the valleys. And one of the valleys is the valley of false confidence. False confidence is where I say to myself after a time, I got this. I think I've learned my lesson. I think I can go back to my drug of choice and I can just party once in a while. It's going to be okay. It's going to end up tripping you up. And it's also a violation of the phrase, however, once and it's over. And your research should have proved that that's not really going to work out for you anyway. But don't fall into the valley of false confidence. At the same time, I don't want you to fall into the valley of living in fear. So many people live in fear. They're dry drunks, they might say. They're not using, but they can't do this and they can't do that and they can't go there and they can't hang out here. Why? Because if I do, I'm going to use. I can't even drive by that part of the town. Why? Because I might, I'm like some puppet. I just can't control myself. I don't think that's a healthy mentality, and that's falling into the valley of fear. And of course, the idea in chapter 12, exposure therapy, helps to deal with those fears. So don't fall into the valley of fear. Don't fall into the valley of false confidence. Stay on that pathway of freedom, and you really just enjoy the robustness of your sobriety and the benefits that sobriety brings in your life. If you've enjoyed this presentation, if you would like to work with me, I work with people all over the United States and the world through telehealth. We have the beautiful technology today, and we can do sessions together. My sessions are done one-on-one. I love to be able to work with you. I also have this cool program here in Hawaii called a recovery retreat. And you can read about that on my website, newhorizonshawaii.com. A recovery retreat is where you come here on Oahu, you stay just steps away from the Pacific Ocean in a beautiful, tranquil environment. You have your own fully furnished apartment with your own entrance and a lot of freedom, and you work with me, you and me, one-on-one for a 3-day period of time. And then after that, there's a 10-week follow-up to keep that momentum and accountability going. That's our recovery retreat. You can read about that on our website. Also, if you'd like to get a signed copy of my book, then go on figureitfaceitfixit.com. I will send you a signed copy of not only that, but it also have one of these tokens which has the phrases on it. And what are those phrases? Let's say them one more time. Let's go. I want to use, I can use, however, once and it's over. So in this moment, I choose to accept temporary discomfort so I can get my benefits. And I got to tell you, one of my benefits is being able to help people like you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please reach out, send me an email. Let's dialogue together about the subject matter of recovery. Take care and aloha.